thing, which I loved. So that was cool. But let's be honest, it might have been the best part of the show. Let's stick with the Sharks and begin with the main event of the evening, which was Eddie Kingston against the Painmaker, Chris Jericho, and a barbed wire everywhere match with the Jericho Appreciation Society being hung above, or rather up and near the ring in a shark cage. Now, for those of you who weren't paying attention, obviously this was a tie-in to Discovery Shark Week, which starts on Sunday. And as I said last week, I'm very excited about that, but that's a whole different show. Anyway, this started pretty funny with Justin Roberts having barbed wire around his microphone, which I thought was a good bit and came back around a few minutes later. Anyway, Ruby Soho was in charge of controlling the key to the cage and the controls themselves. And if that just didn't spell out obvious Ty Conti is obvious, you haven't been paying attention to anything lately. Anyway, Jericho's entrance was a bit different because he was doing his Painmaker gimmick. He came up out of the stage. I guess they borrowed Cody's thing and put an extra spring in it since it's just lying around doing nothing.
That was Rey Mysterio's thing right there.
Well, I'm saying they retrofitted the Cody Vader to be more like Rey's. I digress. He came out with a mask and some barbed wire on Floyd, and he looked pretty lame. And I was upset. And then Eddie came out, just took Justin Roberts' barbed wire mic and slammed it into Jericho's head and said, "Is this thing on? Get ready for blood. It's Shark Week." And then went back to just slamming it into Jericho's face. Great start to the match. Obviously, barbed wire, a lot of blood in this match. There was really good spots. Even the bell had barbed wire on it, which Jericho hit Eddie with. Right before commercial, Eddie got hurricanranaed into a barbed wire table on the floor, and I'm pretty sure the barbed wire went up into his huevos. So good luck, Eddie, with that. Eddie then suplexed Jericho after commercial through a barbed wire table off the apron. And after that happens, like I said, obvious Ty Conti is obvious. But what wasn't obvious was Anna Jay coming down, seemingly to pull Ty off. And then she turned heel and decked Ruby Soho, and I'm very, very upset. So Ty got the keys, and they lowered the cage, and they still couldn't open the cage, so all the guys just like ran through the slots. They're honestly not that big. They all get out of the cage. They start jumping Eddie. Ortiz and the BCC, being Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler, come out to even the odds. Jericho takes an exploder through suplex to another barbed wire table. He ends up kicking out. Then Eddie hits the spinning back fist, but they were saying on commentary Eddie might have broken his hand. So Jericho kicks out because it wasn't strong enough. So then Eddie locked in the stretch palm with the barbed wire, but here comes a returning Sammy Guevara. He super kicks Eddie. Eddie gets Judas effect with the barbed wire. 1, 2, 3. He's out. Afterwards, Sammy picked Eddie up for another Judas effect, but Eddie low blowed him, and then there was a bit of awkwardness because I don't think Sammy realized he was supposed to get kicked in the nuts at that point. But whatever. It ended with Jericho being thrown into the spider web of barbed wire. So this was, to borrow a phrase, a colossal clusterfuck. A lot of blood, a very odd heel turn. So Chad, since you're the only one not muted, I'll go to you first. What did you think of this? Just like I said, this absolute clusterfuck, the heel turns, the booking, all of it, because this was just both literal, physical, and just psychological mess.
Yeah, this was very chaotic, and I'm usually an agent of chaos, but this to me was a little muddled in sloppiness. I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. I did think the barbed wire was a nice touch. I love Eddie Kingston, of course. The barbed wire mic was cool. I did not like the heel turn at all. Everyone knows I'm an NJ fan, and I just didn't see that coming, which I guess I should give them the unpredictable shock value towards that, but I just kind of didn't like it. And the end was very, very sloppy, like wonky almost. But other than that, I enjoyed the shenanigans, I suppose.
Yeah, the match itself was good, if not overbooked to hell.
Right.
Like there was just so many people involved. I guess we should have expected that, to be honest. The shark cage very rarely actually holds somebody in, and when they do, they still get involved. Like, you know, if they whether they drop something in from the shark cage or what have you. I hate the Anna Jay heel turn. I hate it. I am very upset. I don't understand what that means for her now, because is she, you know, part of the Jericho Society Appreciation Society, I guess, and friends? Because I don't know if Ty's really in it. Like, what does that mean for her affiliation with the Dark Order, especially considering it was, I believe, either last week or 2 weeks ago, where they were just out there saying Dark Order is forever. So it's such a weird and seemingly unnecessarily thing to do. Like, I think you could still turn her heel and not have her join up with this just overbooked nonsense.
Right.
But or you could have just had her left her face and had her fight Taj. I thought she was more than over as a face when they, you know, actually decided to fucking use her, which was seemingly never. But, you know, it's like, oh, well, no one's really hot on her right now because what, as a face, so let's just turn her heel. Yeah, because you don't use her. Like, use it. I could keep going, but there are other people on this podcast.
Breathe.
So Danny, I'll go to you and I'll try to compose myself here.
All right. Well, let me just say, I don't think the heel turn was earned. It did not feel warranted yet in the story. I think it could happen weeks from now. You could have had, like, in Jericho, Sammy, and Ty versus Silver Reynolds and Anna have a 6-person intergender tag like that. That sounds like a fun, like, Rampage or middle of Dynamite match. Like, you could have done something like that. You could have had her lose to Conti once or twice to be like, you know what, I think she's right, as opposed to just, well, they have one interaction and she's like, ooh, I'm heel now. But you know, as far as the match goes, oh boy, did I hate most of it.
Get ready to hear that phrase a lot tonight, folks.
Oh God. Okay, first of all, props to Jericho. Holy shit, he took a lot of spots. You know, you can say a lot of things about Jericho, and we have, and we will continue to. But goddamn, does he take the bumps still? He takes worse bumps now than he fucking did 10 years ago. Like, goddamn. He took a lot of bumps in this match. And all of those bumps I was into. But what I was not into, and like you said, I loved the start of the match, Eddie grabbing the barbed wire mic and just beating the shit out of Jericho with it. He said he was going to make him bleed, and he made him bleed. So he was a man of his word still, even though he didn't win the match. He did do what he said he was going to do. I think that's all the nice things I have to say. Okay. Stop kicking out of finishers, especially in matches like Anarchy in the Arena and fucking Blood and Guts and barbed wire everywhere except for the hard cam side matches. Like, it's too much. And Jericho's the veteran who should be against this sort of thing. You know, he should be the one teaching these kids, like, you don't have to you don't do that. You protect, because what is it going to take to beat Jericho? You've hit him with finishers in long, grueling, hardcore matches, and he's kicked out like 4 times. So, like, what the hell? But he beat him pretty easily in the regular singles match way back in fucking February when this feud was really just starting. Yeah,
that's the last time Eddie won a match, isn't
it? No.
Feels that way.
If the last time he won a big match, yeah, he's beating Daniel Garcia and the likes a bunch, you know, but
yeah,
like,
he beat Takeshita on Rampage the other week.
Who hasn't beaten Takeshita?
Yeah,
fair.
Like,
who watches Rampage? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But
touche.
Like, stop doing that. It just diminishes the finishes of the match, because it's already like, I love false finishes. So this sounds like I'm being hypocritical, but there is a point of diminishing returns. And I've realized in the past few months where that point is for me. And like, I think the crowd felt the same way. Like, that just, when Eddie hit the spinning back fist, that felt like the end of the match. And for some reason it wasn't. And it wasn't even a good twist of Sammy Guevara coming out because you know it was predictable that it was predictable Conti coming out because they weren't in the fucking cage. So the stipulation was pointless. It was dumb. It didn't make any sense. Not even because of the normal wrestling reasons of course, the people got out of the shark cage, but not even all the people were in the shark cage. Why weren't Ruby and Ortiz was there? Yeah. Why weren't they in the shark cage on the other side of the arena? Why weren't the Blackpool Combat Club in there? Why is Claudio even there to help? Why does he really care? He's already beaten everyone. Like he has done everything.
It's because he's ridden with Jericho in WWE for years, and he knows how much of an asshole he is. That's my headcanon. It's like he annoyed him back in WWE so much that it's like I just gotta hit him.
Yeah,
it's not sturdy, but it's there.
Sure, man. Great mental gymnastics there. Silver medal.
I got some more if you want.
Oh, I know. That's why I only gave him the silver medal. But yeah, like all the spots were great though. I don't want to diminish. I enjoyed the shit out of the fucking spots in this match. It was exciting to watch. But Jericho fucking won. So this is gonna continue. It's just gonna go on, and we're gonna get to All Out, and this feud's still gonna be going on. Like,
yeah, which is annoying. All right, let me do some backflips for you here. They were trying to make the point on commentary that Eddie broke his hand, which is why the Hurricane didn't work, which I think is just wasn't well done enough. Like I didn't notice throughout the match that he broke his hand until they mentioned it, which was right after he hit the finisher.
Yeah,
so I thought that, I thought that was dumb. And, allegedly Sammy's been hurt since Blood and Guts when he got thrown off the top of the cage. So that's why they didn't think to put him in the shark cage because he wasn't there. So, I mean,
did he show up to the arena like during the match? And that's like,
yeah, he was just hiding in a car in the back and nobody saw him. Yeah, exactly. Like it's the only thing I can. It is a little Jericho-y where like, oh, we're gonna like hide Sammy somewhere and no one's gonna see him, and then he'll come out at the end in case I need his help. Not having Ty in there though was dumb in general because come on, she was there last week. She's gonna be there this week. You should put her in the cage too. She's in the JAS. Like it was all pretty dumb.
My thing with these stipulation matches are why don't they just make the rule if you interfere, you're punished. If it like I get that. I get the shark cage is like theatrical. Just be Tony Khan and say, if you interfere in this match, you're suspended. If you interfere in this match, you're fined.
They've done that previously for previous
matches. I think it works better than a shark cage, personally.
But it's Shark Week.
Yeah, we gotta promote Shark Week and make sure the Rock.
What a terrible way to do it! What a terrible way to do it! Those cages aren't effective. Clearly, things can get through.
Except sharks.
I agree. I don't know, man. I don't know if Hager got out of there. I'm thinking a shark could get in.
Actually, I have seen videos of smaller sharks getting through while they're trying to dive with bigger ones. Actually, I think it happened to Shaq. I genuinely think it happened to Shaq, where a smaller shark got through the cage and like they had to get him out.
That feels like a Shaq-sized problem. Like that feels like
they had to make him a Shaq-sized. They had to make him a Shaq-sized cage. So
was this before or after he disappeared from the back of the ambulance
and never showed up again?
It was before.
So are we gonna throw it to me?
Yeah. I just figured you were gonna take it from there.
Sometimes it's just nice to be invited, like I don't want to crash the conversation.
All right, well, James, what did you think of this car crash?
Now I don't know. But I think Danny said it best. There were some great spots. I think this was a segment, a match, a showing where the parts were better than the sum total.
Yes,
I liked so many different elements of the match, but when you put it all together, it was not great. I don't think. I agree. I'm not thrilled with the Anna Jay turn, but I don't think you necessarily need to have her be part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Like when Ty was teaming with Anna, it's not like Ty was a part of the Dark Order. She was just friends with Anna Jay. So I don't necessarily, I don't know what this means for the Dark Order. Granted, they are really just trudging along, aren't they? But
Slumming it.
they're like 3 members down at this point. 4 if you include Anna Jay leaving now. Maybe.
Well, they have
We don't know what
they
she's
have the
doing.
important members. They have the important member left.
Evil Uno. Yeah.
Hangman.
Who are these people?
Former world champion Hangman. Man, like so many guys were not highlighted this week on Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
No Hangman, no Bucks.
He was there, but not highlighted. The Bucks weren't there. They were doing a lot of setup for the Ring of Honor pay-per-view this weekend.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like
but
a lot of other storylines kind of got shelved just for the week in order to help promote the pay-per-view this weekend. And hopefully after that, they'll announce some sort of regular show.
Yeah.
So there's a little less Ring of Honor pollution within AEW.
I think it's just a matter of time. I think we're all still reeling from the Discovery Warner Brothers merger, and we're just all grateful that Dynamite has been relatively unscathed by all the carnage from that
Up
merger.
until tonight.
Yeah. But sticking to the match, unpopular opinion, I've always thought Eddie Kingston's spinning back fist was just terrible looking anyway. So I don't care that he doesn't pin people with it.
I don't think it's an unpopular opinion because I agree that that's not a real finisher. But like, it's just, I'm so sick of these matches and like the last 5 minutes of these matches being like this.
The interesting aspect of it is you can see the differences with certain people. And I'm going to primarily focus on the people that tend to, or had a history of working in Japan. You don't really see those guys kicking out of finishes. You see them fighting out of finishes. And then when they finally hit a finisher, the match ends. And like big person for that, I'd say is Kenny Omega. I think Kenny is a very big example of that. I'd say Hangman is a pretty big example of a guy. You're not really like, he's not going to kick out of a finish. He's just not going to get hit with the finish. And I prefer that level of matchmaking at this. Don't get me wrong. I think there are the matches that work when you have like finisher, like spam, but it shouldn't be the regular. And I do feel that AEW has sort of been trending in that direction. And that's very much the opposite of where they were when the company started. That felt very much like an NXT thing. And I not to compare the two, but like it is something that was more known in NXT and WWE, I guess, in general. And you know what? Let's just blame everybody's favorite punching bag, Adam Cole. The moment he got there, the whole style changed. Let's just blame Adam Cole. He wasn't in the match. He's not around. He's still dealing with injury, but it's his fault.
Well, no, it's not just him.
Yeah,
There are a lot of
blame.
there are a lot of NXT guys over there now, or former NXT guys. So you could kind of see why their style of finishing a match might be different than some of the AWOGs.
I mean, NXT legend Eddie Kingston, you know, like what can I tell you?
I want to get back to one of Danny's points really quick before we move on about Anna. I think you're absolutely right. Anna, the word you used was unearned, and I think that's the best way to describe it. Like you said, there was one interaction with Ty, and now all of a sudden she turned heel. Like,
well,
there's nothing. There's no substance to what it is.
Can I play devil's advocate a little bit on that?
Sure.
Anna Jay was probably one of the most heelish members of the Dark Order from her debut. She always had a very domineering, powerful personality, and she
took it out on Stu.
Always took it out on Stu. But she partook in some of the more vicious segments. Like her debut was choking out Brandy Rhodes, what many would call a babyface move, but still at the time it was presented as a heelish act. So throughout all of this, her friendship with Ty Conti happened. You know, the Dark Order turned babyface, but they were friends. And then Ty turns heel. But I'm sure, like, how does that affect their friendship? I kind of it might be bizarre to say, but I kind of prefer this method where it's basically, we were friends before, you're doing things a little bit differently, but truth be told, you didn't do anything to me. Maybe you're right. Let's do this together. We're friends anyway. I do kind of hate that method of babyface heel turn, where the moment the turn happens, all past alliances just sort of stop. And I think AEW has been pretty good about actually acknowledging wrestlers' histories, whether or not they're face or heel. So I agree, this action felt very sudden, but her turning heel and siding with Ty doesn't seem that far-fetched to me, or that's like that random. She just helped her best friend.
Okay, and I would agree with that. I just think you could have let it go a bit longer. You could even have it where, you know, Ty's not actively interfering with Anna, but she keeps going to her after like losses or like tough matches.
I would agree.
You should probably be doing things differently, you know, like manipulating her. That would have been earned. This was, like Dane said, one quick conversation, and then all of a sudden she's siding with fucking Chris Jericho. Which is another thing, but
I've known you for years, Nick. If you told me to slap the referee, I would slap the referee for you. If in our fantasy football league you told me to backstab David, I would do it for you.
I wouldn't ask you to do that because they're under my death. But sorry, Danny, get it.
No. By all means, I mean, dude, don't be afraid of David. Okay, he's a pushover. First of all.
Oh God.
Second of all. Jim, you're like one of the most impressionable people I've ever met. So like, you know, I think if anyone told you to do anything, there's a pretty decent chance you'd do it.
It hurt.
Like, guys, we're almost at 100 subscribers, by the way, you know.
For our viewers, Danny and I had a very in-depth conversation a week ago about how he and I have, let's just say, a charismatic ability to lead people, and this feels just very counter to that. We're gonna skip ahead. Let's go to the next segment.
No, I have one more actual point besides that with the Anna J stuff, was that because I liked what you said, and you almost like you kind of won me over a little bit, you know. But how nice would it have been if Conti at any point was just like, it's to win her over, was like, you know what, you were right the whole time. Instead of being like, you should do things differently, you should be like, you should do things the way you told me to do things when we first met. Good. And it's sort of like, there's just so many ways to make this better, and they still could. Whenever Anna J addresses this, they can bring up all this stuff. So, you know, but that's it. That's all I have to say about that.
No, I just liked your word, Dan. Unearned, I think, is the right way to put it. But they could win me back. We'll see. I'm just very disappointed. Let's move on. Like James said, we'll go back to the top of the card here. Darby Allin versus Brody King. This was a grudge match from their interaction at the Battle Royal a few weeks ago. This match basically was just Brody King kicks the shit out of Darby all the way through commercial. Darby momentarily turns the tables using his belt, and then that's short-lived. And then Darby gets a little bit more offense, and then King goes back to kicking his ass until he eventually passes Darby out on the apron. Darby somehow beats the count back in, but then King hits a gonzo bomb and ends up pinning him. And that was literally the entire match. Yeah. Anyway, afterwards, King goes to put Darby back into the sleeper to draw out Sting. Sting does come out. Then the lights go out. While the lights are out, Sting hits the Scorpion Death Drop, but they come back on, and Malachi Black is standing there. They have a stare down. Brody King slaps the sleeper in on Sting. Sting gets hit with the mist until he passes out. And then Miro popped up because Miro's still pretty pissed off about the whole All-Atlantic thing. So he had a stare down in a pretty nice pair of shades with Malachi from the end of the ramp. So James, I'll go to you first, do your facial reaction. What did you think of the match? But I know your true intentions are with the whole Miro thing.
All right, I'll start with the match because that finish was deadly. That gonzo bomb to Darby scared me. The commentary did a beautiful job of selling it. Like Taz talking about how he broke his own neck and that made him shiver or cringe or whatever he said. I loved it, and my God, is Darby great at selling. Imagine if he was in WWE. He would lose every week because of how good he is at selling.
He would be Jeff Hardy.
Don't do it. Stop. Stop, man.
Oh my God, you just had to fucking bring it up.
You
First
said
of
the
all,
bad words.
he
Chad.
loses all the time in AEW. What are you talking about?
I don't think that's
What-
true. I'd say he has way more of a winning record than a loss record. It's just been a
Yeah,
while
because
since he's
fucking
won a
dark
big
and
one.
shit. And
No,
yeah,
no,
he loses all of his. He lost to Kyle O'Reilly, who I love and think should win a lot of matches. But you know, he's lost to multiple secondary guys in groups, not even big bosses of groups. He's losing
I'd say that's more this year because
yeah, that's all year. That's a
It's
lot.
been-
That's
yeah,
a
it's been
problem.
since the
We're
beginning.
more than
7+
halfway through the
months,
year.
Yeah.
all right, fine. I retract my statement.
He lost to Brody. He lost to Kyle. He lost to fucking Jeff Hardy. Like he's losing to all these fucking jabronis in these teams. Like, what is going on?
He hasn't
He's
won a
not
big
winning
match
the
in a
big
while,
one.
James. You have to admit.
Unless he's teaming with Sting. Yes,
True.
you're right. You're
yeah,
right.
but that's
you're
Sting winning, not
And those aren't even big matches. Those are just fun matches.
But I also think that's kind of the thing. I don't think Darby's been in a big feud in a while. Like, let me say this. Let me rephrase that. An important feud in a while.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been in an important feud.
That's true, and
in a
he's
while.
still losing the matches. So it's not even like
But-
he's spinning his wheels. He's spinning other people's wheels.
What's his
Dark-
last important feud? Punk?
Probably.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Andrade, but
Who?
That just
what?
went
Who
too
is
long.
that? Seriously, what?
I will say
not
Darby
so
is
good.
going through the same problem I was afraid was gonna happen with MJF, where they give these young guys a lot very fast, and then they feel like they need to pump the brakes on them, and it hurts them a lot more in the long run because they feel less special.
I hope he's been in fucking promo training. I'm sorry, as you are.
I think when Darby's delivering a backstage promo, he's fine. When he's on a hot mic, oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
But beyond all that, I love the finish. I'm glad to see them putting some shine on Brody King. Like, I love that he won the Battle Royal a few weeks ago. I'm glad that he got a high profile win here because yes, even if Darby is losing a lot, Darby Allin is a bigger name that can help push these guys to a bigger spot. So I'm happy that Brody's getting a little bit of a shine. The follow up to the match with Sting and Malachi, this is just the nerd in me. All I felt was that was like the Dark Knight Rises, where it was like Malachi was Batman and Sting was Bane, and he was like, "Oh, you only adopted the dark." Because as soon as the lights went out, Sting knew exactly where Malachi was. It wasn't like where could he be? Sting knows exactly how to look for someone in the dark, and I thought that was amazing. The choke into the mist was really cool, but none of that's important because Miro is back, and I had chills when he was coming down like the ramp. And I'm not saying that like there's no hyperbole there, there's no joke there. I am 100% on the Miro tank, not the Miro train. I'm bringing it back. He drove a fucking tank down to WrestleMania one year. So I am on the Miro tank 100%, and he looks like a star. He looks and feels and has the atmosphere and the aura of a star right now. And I hope he destroys Malachi Black. I don't even care if Darby and Sting are in it. I hope Miro destroys Malachi, makes Brody King watch in the corner. I don't care. Miro everything, deserves everything. Give him the world title.
Is it just me, or was there something up with like, because he had the glasses on? I couldn't just tell if they were two-tone glasses or like he had something covering one of his eyes.
Bro,
Or
I
was it just
thought
me.
one of the eyes was painted and he was doing some House of Black shit. I was very alarmed for a moment. But yes, I agree. I thought the same.
Yeah, because again, I think if I remember correctly, he got misted during the All Atlantic Championship title match. So,
So then he's
I was thinking
blind
maybe he
for
might
a
be
couple
selling the
weeks.
eye, or because Skylar was saying something about maybe his eyes being closed. I don't know. It looks like they're doing something with that. Hopefully, it's better than whatever they did with Pac, because that was like all of 5 seconds of weirdness, and then he was fine. But Chad, I'll go to you. What do you think of the match? And I know you were very high on Miro as well.
I am high on Miro. I am, however, not as optimistic as James. So the match was fine. I hated the fact that Darby was a fucking rag doll for the whole match. I also would rather see Malachi more than Brody, but I digress. The match was fine. Darby looks like talent enhancement at this point. I'm sick of it. I didn't like it. I liked seeing Miro, but I thought it would go somewhere. Him just staring him down didn't do it for me. Kind of was lackluster. And Sting was stinging. I like Sting. I like everything Sting does. I have nothing else. It was just like mid for me.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I think that's a phrase you're going to be hearing a lot during this episode too. Danny, any more thoughts on this, especially Miro?
I hated most of this.
Drink.
I already said that Darby is not as bulletproof as the company or he thinks he is. That's why he only was able to try doing that fucking backflip like twice before he had to stop. But he's losing too much and it needs to stop. And Brody's cool and all, but I don't know. I know Buddy Matthews is injured, but
I was wondering where he was.
This group feels lesser without him. I mean, it's literally less people. So, where was Julia Hart? Was she not there? Was she?
She's only in
on Twitter posting selfies and her being creepy.
Packages. Like Malachi, though.
Yeah.
Honest question for the group here. Question for the group.
Yes.
What would you do with Darby at this point? Because I feel like you can't put him in the TNT title picture
too early.
He's been there. He had it for a very long time. I don't think you could put the world title on him yet. I think he's still a couple of years away from being the world champion. I don't think eligible for the Atlantic Championship.
Maybe not a couple of years. Maybe.
Is he all he has to do is build himself in parts unknown, and then that should count for something, right?
but what would you do with him right now? Like, honest, like this is like it's not a challenge. It's just I don't know how to book Darby right now because he feels like he's not quite there for the main event, but he feels too big for the TNT title.
Okay, so first of all, I think rehashing him and Moxley, you could do it anytime, and I'd accept that. So he could go for the world title right now. Not win it, but he could go for it.
But he'd be losing again. He'd be losing again, and that's
him
the problem.
Losing to Moxley is better than him losing to Brody, Andrade, Kyle, other people I've said that he's lost to. Like you can lose to Moxley because you know what? You can do a similar thing with Moxley that you did with Cody, where eventually he's gonna beat Moxley. Whereas now he's never going to beat Jeff because Jeff is going to jail, hopefully. Probably not, but like he's never going to get his win back against Jeff. Maybe he'll get his win back against Brody, but who cares? Like, I don't know. Kyle's injured. I mean, pretty much all of the undisputed elite are injured except for the Bucks and the least important member of the group. But
I think it's only Nick now. I think Matt got hurt.
Oh
okay, then. So yeah, we're really running out of elite people, but you can do that with Moxley, where I believe that Darby can beat, and you know what? You could have him beat Moxley and just have Darby Punk again at All Out a year later, but for the two titles. I wouldn't actually do that, but if they did that, I'd be like, yo, that's fucking dope. And just hold off on the Moxley Punk match because I think I'd rather wait for, I don't know. Anyway, but the real thing you do with him is have him and Sting go for the tag titles and or be tag champs. Since it doesn't matter, we're just putting it on people who are kind of tag teams but aren't really tag teams.
Yeah.
Put it on them. They're undefeated as a tag team. They've never been beaten. They're the best tag team in the world according to statistics. So put them in the tag title scene. There's so much you can do with them. You can have this feud, just don't have him lose to the heavy who's only getting built up to lose to Miro so that Miro can go on to beat and or lose to Malachi. Probably beat because Malachi is not even well protected anymore. He doesn't even come off as like the scariest guy in his own group anymore.
I think Brody is more protected than Malachi at this point.
Yeah.
Which I hate, but
I will say
I understand it, but I hate it.
I do get it.
I will say, and this is, admittedly, I've seen Brody in other things besides AEW. I know
Name
that they're
5 things.
Ring of Honor, New Japan. That's 2 things. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's only so many places to work that are televised. But I've seen him in other places, and he is an incredible talent, in my opinion.
He's talented.
I think the only issue is he's not Malachi Black. And that's not like, I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't feel like that's fair to Brody, you know? Like, I personally think they botched his debut. I think it was really cool that moment, and then it just like went weeks without really anything of importance, months almost of anything important. And I think that's an incredible disservice to him. That's why I'm a little more excited right now that he's getting this rub and he's getting up a little bit more, because I think they should have been doing this all along. I don't view him as just a heavy, but I understand how AEW has sort of positioned it to be that way. Like when he and Malachi were on the indies together, their tag team name was the Kings of the House of Black. It wasn't like the House of Black that Brody King is a part of. They were equals. It's just Malachi was here first and faster. So I don't know.
I think in AEW they're Kings of the Black Throne when they're tagging together. So at least they were for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's. But look, I don't know what you do with them. I'm in on Brody. I like him. I think he's good. But like you said, Danny, he's probably just getting fed to Miro, depending on what they want to do. As for Darby, James, it's a good question. I was something that popped in my head. Maybe you throw him in Ring of Honor for a little while just to get him out of AEW and give him a title. But that doesn't sound like a good idea either. Yeah. So he's Darby, like you said, he's in a weird spot because he's a guy you want to keep on TV because he's very popular. But he's not in a good position to feud with anybody available at the moment.
This is the thing.
I just told you I solved it though. Like tag titles, and then they're feuding with House of Black, who are a tag team, and then boom, you got challengers right there. All you have to do is throw the tag titles into this.
The problem with the tag titles are, and Chad, I'm sorry, we can go to
no, you good. Go ahead. Say what you're saying.
Is Sting can't work every day.
That's the only thing I was going to say. I was going to say I would
tell
love
that to fucking Sting, okay?
Right, literally.
The guy jumping off in more shit than half the roster.
Yeah, but he does it once every 3 months.
Still, he's of age. He's getting to that age where we gotta start treating him like Ric Flair. We're like, yo, you gotta stop soon. You can't keep doing this.
I was just gonna say that depending on how Sting was set up, that is a good idea. But even if you were to have Darby coast, the only thing I would like to see is just a win. Just you can have him coast for a while. That's fine. I get it. People are underutilized at times when they don't have anything, but just win. He can rack up wins and make his record better while he's not doing much.
Like, okay, right off of what you said, Chad, like when MJF lost, technically, not the feud, but he lost the last match of the feud to Jericho, he got fed Brian Pillman for a couple weeks. Yeah, we were bitching and moaning, or at least I was bitching and moaning that that's such a step down. But all that was there for was for MJF to just get a win back against someone you know he's going to beat, but just someone for him to have fun with and destroy.
And Barry,
Darby doesn't get that. All of Darby's feuds involve him losing to the person first and then beating them in a coffin match. Like he always has to lose first. And a company that's supposed to care about stats and wins and losses, he's taken way too many, you know, and he's below MJF on the pillar, or, you know, he's above MJF right now because MJF is in a void right now, but you know, that makes him the highest ranking pillar because Jungle Boy's a fucking dork loser who we'll talk about eventually, but and then I don't even know who the other pillar is.
Sammy.
No, it's Britt Baker.
It's Britt Baker, yeah, who's back on TV now at least. So,
yeah.
You know,
all the pillars are kind of in a bad place now, really.
Yeah.
MJF's in the fucking Phantom Zone for all we know. Like,
Kal-El.
Corporate synergy. Let's go. All right, I think we can probably talk about this a lot more, but we do have to move on. We had a quick backstage interview with Cole Carter, but he was facing Ricky Starks for the FTW title later that night in an open challenge. Ricky and Hobbs just immediately interrupted him and talked a bunch of shit. And then they put a Shark cat on top of Shivani's head, which was great. Speaking of corporate synergy. And we had Best Friends versus John Moxley and Wheeler Yuta, which I was really looking forward to due to obviously all of the backstory with Wheeler and the Best Friends. Poor Chucky T had to fight his own son because Trent bullied him and using Trent's words because of all the BDSM that he was doing with Regal. Go check their Twitters. It was good stuff. And we had both Regal and Orange Cassidy on commentary, which was great. Orange obviously quiet most of the time, but it was still a lot of fun. This match was fine. I think, personally, I thought it was probably the best match on the card, which I don't think was saying much. But they had a horrific camera cut at one point when Wheeler was clearly lining up Trent in the corner, and they cut to the commentary table, and you missed Wheeler just open hand bitch slap him to have forced Trent to tag himself in and start fighting. That I couldn't believe they missed that. That was like a very important storytelling part of the match, and they just completely ignore it. Anyway, shortly after that, Chuck ended up pulling Trent off of Wheeler, and then Wheeler decked Chucky. So then Taylor went bananas and started throwing Wheeler into all sorts of barricades and stuff. After commercial, Mox came off the hot tag, and he just went crazy to the point where Chuck wasn't even legal, and he took Chuck, threw him out of the ring, threw him over the timekeeper's area, and then threw the table on top of him, which was just unbelievable. Eventually, he ended up taking an awful waffle, which is always rough. And then Wheeler took 2 pile drivers back to back, but he's still kicked out. And then the match ended with Chuck going for another awful waffle on Wheeler, but then Yuta reversed it and got a pin with the seatbelt. And then Orange said, one of the only things he said on commentary the entire time, that Chuck taught him that move, and he was pretty pissed. So I'm getting a lot of arguments over who should go first, but I hadn't gotten to Danny first yet tonight. So Danny, I know that you were the biggest fan of this match, but I enjoyed it to an extent.
I was not. I didn't hate most of it, but I'm going to use the word I used earlier. This was even more unearned. Where was the build for this? Where was the fucking segments between them? Where was fucking the Best Friends confronting him backstage?
Rampage.
Setting up this match.
Was it?
Was it really?
I
don't know. I really was
saw
like,
the
fuck.
segment. I saw a segment. I saw a segment backstage where Wheeler and Trent were like going back and forth, like in each other's faces. I don't know if that was digital.
You should have done it a month ago, like with Build. Should have happened right after he first left and joined Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, it was like right after he won the Pure Championship.
Which, to an extent, I think it did, because I think they faced Rocky Romero and Trent, but that doesn't count because Rocky Romero's a bigger fucking jobber than Chucky T is in this company. So, like, you know, that's fine. And also, he had no real interactions with Yuta, so I don't care that they fought. Like, this should have happened months ago. Or if you're going to rehash it now, just build to it more. Because this is actually something I care about and normally would be very invested and excited in. And I got into it a little bit, especially anytime that Chuck Taylor showed emotions, because, you know, he has every right to. This is like his character's only motivation and story ever since being in the company. This is like the pinnacle of his character's story in AEW, and it's a throwaway match because I'm pretty sure the Blackpool Combat Club is going to be right back to being involved with the JAS next week. So what was the point? Also, I don't like that this is like the week after they were all just facing Wardlow for some reason. Since Orange Cassidy has come back, he's kind of directionless too. Like he literally went from having the best match of the decade, let's say, probably without doubt, to, you know, facing Wardlow, having to lose again, and then now his team, like now they're finally facing the Blackpool Combat Club in a tag match. I love the story of it in ring. That's all good, but again, it did not feel earned at all. It felt like they dropped the ball and it was just sitting at the curb for a long time, and like cars were coming and they were parking on top of it and next to it, and like it rained and it got all muddy and dirt got all over it. And then they picked the ball back up and were like, "Here, play with this." And it's like, I don't want to play with it now. It's all dirty.
It was an extended but fairly
It re-
solid metaphor. No, I can understand your complaints about the timing. I think it's warranted. But even so, I really enjoyed the match, so I was like willing to let it slide to an extent.
Oh, match was good.
Yeah.
I didn't complain about the match. All it was everything around it, really.
Yeah, I know. I think that's fair. James, do you agree with Danny? They should have done this earlier, or
Yes, they should have done it earlier, but I think I'm going to be a little more forgiving considering the timeline of everything going on. They prioritize the feud with the Jericho Appreciation Society, which I think we can all agree is the bigger feud and the more important feud. So I understand, especially where that story was going, why they felt it was necessary to insert the Blackpool Combat Club the way they did. And
Great
then on
point.
top of,
and I'm going to immediately interrupt you though, because there was plenty of weeks between Wheeler Yuta joining Blackpool Combat Club and them getting involved. There was at least 4 weeks between that. You know, it sounds like a great 4-week feud. The Blackpool Combat Club versus
the only
group
issue
they stole
is
Yuta from.
The only issue is, and you touched on it, they had that match with Rocky Romero, and Chuck Taylor was injured all that time.
oh yeah, that's right.
Was he?
Yes.
Mhm.
Are
Yeah.
you sure? Are you confusing him with Trent, the guy who's always injured?
You would think,
sure?
but in this instance, no, it was Chuck Taylor. Chuck had been off of TV for a significant amount of time, to the point that people actually thought he might have gotten released, but it came out that he was injured, which is why we hadn't seen him, and we were seeing Trent teaming up with Rocky a lot more. So I am going to be more forgiving given the circumstances. Also, what is it? Forbidden Door 2 took up a lot of time, and they again went with Roppongi Vice. Again, I think Chuck was coming back from injury at that point, but again, so many storylines kind of got put into like a weird stasis for Forbidden Door.
Yeah, I think Chuck came back the Dynamite after.
Yeah.
Right.
So I am going to be more forgiving. I agree. I would have preferred to see this match like months ago when it was a lot hotter, but given everything, I can be a little more forgiving. The match itself, I very much enjoyed. Well, I will say I enjoyed the back half a lot more than I did the front. Like, I thought the first half was pretty standard, but I think by the time Chuck got mad and was really starting to lose it with Yuta, I think the match really picked up. And I think everybody started to really show that fire for the match. And I loved the awful waffle, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I love that from the top rope. That was
That's
that
a
was disgusting.
Devastating move in general, because it just looks so awkward.
It was such a great spot. I don't know how I feel about Wheeler Yuta kicking out of 2 pile drivers in a row, but he did, and we all have to live with it. The only way I can sort of accept it is that neither guy uses the pile driver as their finisher. So it is what it is, but maybe just don't be so casual with the pile driver.
Right.
Fair enough.
Other than that, I thought it was a very solid match. I wish there was something after the match, like maybe either like a stare down, or
You
maybe
could see Chuck was like, in the corner, and I really would have liked to see more of that, but they had to go to the promo package.
Truth be told, I know we were talking about it last week with Orange taking more losses, but like I wouldn't mind Orange being in like a mini feud for Moxley with the title.
Yeah, I mean, he should 100% win, but I'd be down with that too.
But yeah,
Orange versus
you don't want to see
yeah, that'd be fun.
There's just so many better matches we could be having. Oh my god!
Why do we not want Mox versus Punk anymore?
I do, but
I do. I don't know. I'm just kind of I'm just talking myself into other matches that I want.
we can still get Orange versus Punk down the road. Like they have built him up to be a contender before. They can easily do it again.
I also
think
want
Punk
to see
would get a
Orange
kick out of it.
versus Danielson. You know, but
That
Oh,
would
for
be
sure.
funny because I
For
think
sure.
Danielson would literally try to murder him at one point.
I thought he said Danhausen. Did you say Danielson or Danhausen?
I said
Danielson.
Danielson.
All right, I heard Danhausen, and I'm getting worked up into a tizzy.
I mean, I've seen that match before, and it was good. But
all right, well, while you calm down, James. Chad, what did you think about this?
I absolutely agree with what both the gentlemen said. On the match perspective, it was probably my match of the night, which isn't saying much because, as we all know, it was kind of mid tonight. But yeah, I enjoyed the match. Super dope match. But yeah, the outside politics, I agree with the boys.
Yeah. Also, I caught up on
Excuse me.
BTE the other day, and Chucky T and Trent going around the back looking for weapons to kill Wardlow is an all-time BTE segment. I highly recommend it. Anyway, so after this match, we had a promo package for Claudio versus Jonathan Gresham for the Ring of Honor World Championship, which is happening, I believe, Saturday, which should be cool. Then Choppy the Shark joined commentary, Shark Week. And then we had Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland for an in-ring interview with Shivani. So they came out and celebrated a bit. Rapper Kevin Gates was there. I don't know who that is, which is surprising. And then they got interrupted by Smart Mark Sterling and Tony Nese because Smart Mark almost has his petition fully signed to get Swerve removed for the roster. So they go ask Gates to sign it. He refuses. Smart Mark insults his music. Gates steps through the barricade. Tony Nese steps between the two of them. So Gates grabs his chain and knocks him the fuck out. And then Swerve throws a cake in Smart Mark's face. This was a segment. It happened. It was fine. And that wasn't even the most famous rapper on the show, so who cares? Tell me I'm wrong, Chad.
You're not wrong.
Thank you.
It happened.
That punch looks stiff, though.
It
I will
did.
say,
It
that,
looked very, very stiff. And Tony Nese is brolic. Your boy looks chiseled.
that's
As
the
usual.
thing. Tony Nese has always looked good, and I think he looks better with the short hair now. And I'd even go as far as to say that he's pretty good in the ring too. He
Yeah, I
is
like
just
his
a
in-ring stuff.
Well, we know he's good in the ring.
he is just a charisma black hole.
Which is why Smart Mark is there.
It's not
which
working.
is not.
you guys
Yeah,
are being
it's
so harsh on Tony Nese. God.
well.
He is
cut
I
him
wonder where
some
we got that from.
slack.
You know
Cut him
why?
some
You know
slack.
where that motherfucker is from. Long
Oh.
Island.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh shit! Duh. Everything makes sense now.
yeah. Well, Max Caster's from Long Island, so you know.
Exceptions can be made.
Zack
Chris
Ryder is also.
Statlander's-
There's
Chris
a couple.
Statlander's from Long Island.
I say
Spending
again.
time in Long Island. Well, first of all, she's an alien. She
Yeah.
landed on Long Island.
Which is terrible place to land.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna fit in with a bunch of weirdos, it would be Long Island.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's just move on. We had Silver and Reynolds backstage. They wanted to talk to Butcher and Blade for some real weird reason. They wanted to give them shirts that said Butch because I guess Adam Cole didn't want them. So Butcher and Blade started to kick the shit out of them, and they were run off by Hangman, who had a chair. And now I think Hangman and Silver are facing them on Rampage. So cool.
Everything's on fucking Rampage.
Rampage always has a really good card. I just never have the opportunity to
I
watch
know.
it.
I'm gonna
I feel
like DVR and watch it on Saturdays. I
yeah,
think.
you know, I know what it is. Like I always forget it's on the TNT app later, and then I just like completely forget about it. And I actually end up missing a bunch of good stuff, which is unfortunate. But that's just who I am. Anyway, next we had Christian Cage and Luchasaurus against the Varsity Blondes. Christian's new shirt says "Worked everyone," and I think that's great because it was outwork everyone. Now it's worked everyone, which is just whoever came up with that was smart.
Probably
Also,
Captain Charisma.
wouldn't surprise me. Gold star for him. Also, the Blondes didn't get a jobber entrance. Good for them, but they kind of had a jobber match because Luchasaurus just pretty much kicked their ass for most of the match, with the exception of a little bit of offense for the Blondes. He choke slammed both of them, and then Christian tagged himself in for the win. And then, holy shit, Jungle Boy is back with a chair, and Luchasaurus let him go to go kick Christian's ass. So it looks like Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are back. Jungle Boy chased him all the way through the crowd. and then I don't know, and then it cut. But Jungle Boy's back. I think Jurassic Express is okay. We shall see. Chad, please tell me you're as happy as I am.
No, I'm absolutely not happy.
I knew it.
I
Went to James first.
I am.
Yeah, well,
I am absolutely not happy. Number one, I told you guys, you all know, I hate seeing Dick Dickerson every other week jobbing. They're ridiculous. I actually think I like Brian Pillman Jr. more
what is happening right
than,
now?
Man,
than
leave Griff
Hugh
alone.
Hubertson.
Why do you hate Griff? He's done nothing wrong to anybody.
I actually think
He's
I just
done
like
nothing right though.
I just like renaming him each time. I think that's probably it's a thing now. Number two, gotta love Christian. Number three, I absolutely hate. Not that Jungle Boy is back. That's fine. Why is Jurassic Express together again? When Luchasaurus was about to go on the best run of his life. You know what? I'm now looking at Jungle Boy as a heel and an enemy to my life. Because he's holding him back. He won't let him prosper.
Well,
why the Dino can't get lit? I'm very upset.
One of a few things could happen here, but it wouldn't surprise me if Luchasaurus is still playing Jungle Boy at the behest of Christian, like if that was planned. Or
if that's the case, I'd love that. That's fine.
Or maybe Luchasaurus was indeed, as it appears, he was playing Christian. I mean, either way, I was excited. It was kind of cool to see Luchasaurus not turn heel, but I will agree. I was coming around to this heel turn. Like the look was cool. He was looking really badass.
He can keep the look. He can keep all of that.
This is true.
No, he cannot. Have you heard his entrance music, James?
I have. Why can't he use it?
It's the best shit I've heard in the last year.
So why can't he keep it? Who's saying he can't keep it?
Because Jungle Boy is going to continue to use whatever song.
When will Luchasaurus ever get his own entrance ever again? When? Never.
He
the guy's holding him back. You know who let him get his own entrance? Christian. Who had his best interests in mind. He was taking him to the top. Where's he going now? He'll never go anywhere.
Could be a double cross, though.
Fuck Brody King, man. Luchasaurus is where it's at. He's no one's heavy. He is the fucking guy.
But
Chad's right. You're wrong, James. I haven't even made your point yet, and you're already wrong. And I feel so bad for you, but like that's just the way it is. Oh my god! And you know what? You're not even going second because I'm just taking over after Chad. I'm going second. I hated most of this. This is fucking. Well, whatever. The Varsity Jobbers were on TV. That's fine for some. Bro, like oh my god, why are they on TV? But we have to struggle to get a women's match on TV. Oh my god.
Boycott Ralph Ralferson.
Oh my god, yes.
This is a good one.
Yo, fucking Scott Scotterson, get the fuck out of here.
What's happening?
God damn. Okay. I don't even fully mind. This was a cool moment, but it was a weird step in the story to take right now because we never even got the explanation as to why Luchasaurus was siding with Christian in the first place. We needed to get that first, and then you could have Luchasaurus be a little more conflicted about it and not just immediately fucking step over. You didn't. This wasn't earned. This felt like now we have to know why he sided with Christian and find out why he is now sided back with Jungle Boy when this should have been a two-part thing. Should have been him and Christian explaining why they're together and then him explaining why he ultimately chose Jungle Boy. And like Chad said, we're losing out on, he could keep the black mask, sure, but he's not going to have his fucking haunting, spooky heel music when he's coming out with fucking squeaky.
Kane did.
He's not Kane.
Kane kept it with Daniel Bryan. Bryan Danielson. He kept it.
Yeah, but Kane was like 20 years into his fucking career at that point. Like,
right.
It's a little different, but
you can do a heel turn if you have
20 years into its career too.
You can have a heel turn if you're 20 years in your career, James.
Yeah, I mean, Kane had a lot of heel turns, but
he's a heel right now. But
oh, definitely.
A wrestler? No. he was argued he was like the second best 24/7 champion in history. So, you know,
Who was the first?
Drake Maverick.
Proof.
Yeah, I guess Drake Maverick. Yeah, sure. Marshmallow, I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, point is, Luchasaurus, man, he is now taking a back seat immediately. Jungle Boy hasn't even said a fucking word, and Luchasaurus is already taking a back seat. Whereas Christian, the smart heel and overall good guy, because he had Luchasaurus's best interest in mind, was putting him forward above himself. He even admitted he was riding coattails because he just wanted to make easy money. So like, the point is, you can't ride coattails with someone beneath you. That's not how riding coattails works. Now we're gonna go back to fucking pillars, and now it's all gonna be about Jungle Boy versus Christian, and Luchasaurus is a background player. And this is just garbage. Anyway, what happened after this Rev Raw?
So let me tell you. For the last day, I have been recovering from a vicious roller coaster incident where I threw up, and I have been disoriented ever since. My whole equilibrium is all off balance. But what you guys just did was so off the wall crazy that somehow I'm seeing straight again. So thank you.
Maybe you guys should talk to Kenny Omega.
So let me tell you, first of all, I've been hating this story for a while now. I've been telling you guys, it feels like Jungle Boy needs to come back sooner than later. There's no explanation, which I agree with you, Danny. There needed to be an explanation, but here I hate you.
Danny wants me to kick James, for those of you wondering what's going on.
But
Doug, kick him off the tour.
But here's the thing. As an avid BTE viewer, especially in the golden days, I can tell you.
Please kick him.
I can tell you, Luchasaurus has a genius level IQ. So while Christian was playing checkers, Luchasaurus was playing 4D chess. And he was playing Christian from the beginning. So it's all in character.
Okay.
You're so
it's
wrong.
all in his character.
No, I don't want to look. I agree that Luchasaurus is really smart, and we're going to talk about that more. Absolutely. But I will say Christian is playing chess. Luchasaurus is playing 4D chess, and Jungle Boy is playing Candyland. Okay, so anyway, carry on.
First of all, what's wrong with Candyland? Second of all, it's a completely different type of game. Second of all,
that's
so
the
much
joke.
checkers to chess. The point you just made, the analogy you
one
just
is
made,
more
chess
is more intellectual than checkers. Candyland is just a different board game.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, he's playing Jungle Boy playing Shoots and Ladders. Christian's playing Exploding Kittens, and Luchasaurus is an architect, and he's making a skyscraper in Manhattan. Okay,
I was gonna say Sudoku, but
I don't know. Oh,
Tiny stickers.
I'm dizzy again. But anyway, I really want. I'm fine with them still being a unit because I never bought him turning on Jungle Boy in the first place. It never made sense to me. I thought it was stupid even from the get-go. Truth be told, now I was thinking it as we were speaking, but I want it even more now, kind of just to upset Chad. I want Christian to start leading the Varsity Blondes.
Kick him.
They need a mouthpiece. Christian could be that mouthpiece. He could be hey, Luchasaurus played you and me. Let's team up and take them out. I'm all
He
for
just destroyed Pillman the other day. You think they're gonna join him?
Why?
He's showing him. He's showing him. Oh no, I can't even go that far. I can't do it. But
do it now.
He never wanted to be a father to Jungle Boy. He could be a father to Brian Pillman Jr.
Because he doesn't have one? Wow, James. Jesus Christ.
Wow. No, it's okay. Me
Okay,
and Rev
James-
don't,
James
me and
has
Rev
been
don't have
muted.
fathers. You can say things like that.
James has been muted. I'm done with
Not
this
not for
conversation.
the father thing though. Not for the father thing. It's for everything else. The father thing totally fine.
I kind of hope that Luchasaurus double crosses Jungle Boy next week, just for the
Yes,
chaos
please.
that will come out of the three of you next
Please.
week. And I won't even be here, so that sucks. So, all right, no, do it in 2 weeks, please, Tony. Give me a week before you end up doing it.
Did
But,
you
all right.
guys hear what James said?
Yeah, I know. That's why I muted him, because I don't
Is
want
this-
to kick him.
is
'cause it
this
makes it too
recorded?
complicated. No, but it will be on YouTube and all posterity for everybody to see.
Christian, the manager of Justin, just in case, for what? What for? What the fuck is the reason?
Just in case, still muted.
Oh my god.
All right, let's move on.
Wait, can we give him a couple more, rattle off a couple names for him?
Absolutely.
Say Candace Cropmaster, cover C's. David Dobrik, if he's gonna be a heel, we'll call him David Dobrik. You got anything for E? Does anyone have an E?
Eric Erickson.
Eric Erickson.
Oh, there we go.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
All right, there we
All right,
Cocaine
go.
or
Let's go.
All right.
Let's move on. We'll
Yeah,
save
let's move
some
on.
for next week. We gotta
Okay.
keep it moving. James goes Freddie Fredericks. Hi, Ryan. All right. So after this, we have a backstage interview with the Gun Club where Austin has challenged Max Caster to a rap battle on Rampage.
Okay, like I said, this should be on Dynamite and it should be the main event.
Yes, it
The
should.
fuck?
absolutely
Yes, it
should be on that.
Very much should. And then we have, speaking of palindromic names, Ricky Stark against Cole Carter for the FTW Championship in an open challenge. Frankly, I didn't really pay too much attention to this match. There was a police chase happening, and I was kind of watching it on the side, and I ended up missing a bunch of stuff. But it ended with Carter missing a 450 splash, Ricky hit a spear, and won. But who cares about the match? Because the more important shit happened after, where Ricky demanded another challenger because he was feeling hot, and Danhausen answered the challenge. So Ricky was quite flabbergasted, and he decided he would accept the challenge for next week. All right, so James,
Fantastic.
I don't think I can just pure unmute you. You have to unmute yourself.
I'm back, bitches.
Okay. I'm only unmuting you because it was last week that you said that you think Orange Cassidy should have the FTW title just to piss Taz off. Right idea, wrong guy.
I still am gonna say I think Orange works better, but man, will Danhausen be amazing if he wins this belt. I want this to happen. I want this to happen so much. I think the best part of the whole night was Ricky Stark saying Danhausen's name the way he did.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
great
I-
Danhausen
good.
impression.
I want to make that like my text notification. This match is going, no swearing. This match is going to fuck. No swearing.
No swearing.
But I am so excited for this. I think this is perfect. I feel so bad for Tony Two Dimes because man, does he look like someone's creator wrestler. But the match, I guess, was fine. Ricky Starks is amazing. He is way above everything he's doing right now. I want him to be doing like main event level stuff because I think he's that good. And I'm very hyped for next week. And I wish Taz sold it a little bit more on commentary. Like him just thinking how preposterous this is. Or even just being frantic that Ricky was going to take a second match like right then and there.
Well, he was a little he was frantic about that. Like, what did he do? He didn't. He was included on that. But I agree, and I think he'll play it up more next week. But I agree, he should have been more outraged at the possibility of Danhausen winning his title.
And what's interesting is if we think back to last week too, they gave Hook a little bit of an interview segment where they asked him, you're undefeated. When do you think a title is in your future? And then he smirks and then leaves. And then the next week, his tag partner challenges for his dad's title. So I think Danhausen's going to lose, but I think this is going to set up for like a Team Taz fissure.
Interesting. Also, Danhausen did just win on Dark, if I'm not mistaken. I think he beat Jake something. with a very clever roll up. So
Jake something is his name, everybody.
yeah, no, I wasn't
that
just
is his name.
making that up. That's his actual name.
Great name.
Yeah.
Impact Wrestling, baby.
Didn't he leave?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
So,
But I have this info because of Impact, which is coming back tomorrow, bitches. I don't know why I keep calling people bitches, but we're here.
Bitches you are.
Please continue.
Bitches.
okay. Does anybody else have anything on Danhausen before I move on?
Danhausen's great.
Yep.
Okay, good stuff. All right, so after all of that wonderfulness, we had a backstage interview with Chris Statlander, Athena, and Willow Nightingale. There was supposed to be a six-way tag between the three of them, and Kira Hogan, Jade Cargill, and Layla Gray. But Layla Gray, I think, either got hurt or so. I don't know. She wasn't there tonight for whatever reason. So Statlander was unfortunately no longer in the match, which sucks. Boo. After that, we had FTR in-ring interview. They're facing the Briscoes this weekend at Death Before Dishonor, excuse me. This was just a very good promo. I don't really have too much to say about it, but Dax did tell a great story about his daughter, who had a hole in her heart when she was 5, and he said how hard she had to work to have it closed, and she was able to do so. So he was like, if she's gonna fight that hard, I gotta fight harder. It was a very beautiful story, but other than that, it was a very good final promo before they go into this weekend's pay-per-view.
God, they should have been 2-time AEW tag champs, but
It's coming. It's coming.
But they should have been the first. They should have been crowned the first. However, I love the promo. I'm not gonna ruin it.
I will say I love this segment, but man, how weird is it that Ring of Honor is getting so much representation and they're just not allowing the Briscoes on TV? They're just not allowing it to happen, and I get it because that's scary. But still, like, this feud could be doing so much more if they actually just allowed the Briscoes on TV.
Yeah, I can understand. Like you said, I can understand why.
Oh no, yeah. If I am leading Warner / Discovery / AEW, I'd be weary of having him on national television too. They have a checkered past, but
frankly, I was surprised they were asked back for another match.
I think they're going to be a part of Ring of Honor. I just don't think they're going to be a part of AEW. I don't know if we're going to be doing Ring of Honor predictions, but I'll give you a spoiler now. I think the Briscoes are taking it from FTR.
Ooh.
Interesting. That is a 2 out of 3 falls match, so
yeah,
that could make things interesting. Danny, do you have anything for this? Or
No, it was good. I just I don't want to start the whole Bucks FTR tag title conversation again. So
we're just going to talk in
promo.
circles with that. All right. Well, speaking of promos, after that we had Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh backstage. Lethal is facing Samoa Joe for the Ring of Honor Television Championship on Saturday. So Lethal was just running his mouth, and then Christopher Daniels stepped in and basically told Lethal to shut the fuck up and fight him on Friday. And Lethal agreed, so they'll be facing off on Rampage, which is a nice old school Ring of Honor match.
I will just say, I know not everyone watched it. If you can find the time to watch the countdown to Death Before Dishonor that they put out for the show, it was a great build up for the pay-per-view.
Is that out already?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or at the very least, they've put out segments. And the Jay Lethal Samoa Joe segment was very good. Going back, deep dive into their history from Ring of Honor, looking almost 20 years ago now.
Send it to the group.
I shall.
I miss Samoa Joe on TV. I'm just going to say that. He's been sorely missed.
Yeah.
I think he's going to end up being more of a Ring of Honor guy than an AEW guy. But
I personally, we don't need to get into Ring of Honor predictions, but I think Jay Lethal's going to win, and I think we're going to start seeing Samoa Joe on AEW TV a little bit more.
Well, just spoil the entire episode coming out later this week then.
Fucking real quick though, isn't it? I'm almost really sad that Claudio is going for the Ring of Honor title because I don't want him on that unbelievable B story of a show. Like,
but it's very full circle.
It is, but I just want him on the AEW.
I think Claudio will be somebody who pulls double duty. Just like we talked about how Wheeler Yuta holding the Pure Championship just does something for him, even though he's not defending that belt, he still gets to wear a belt. I think that's going to be the case here, where they're just going to start loading belts into the BCC, even if they're not belts that are necessarily important to AEW. They're going to still look shiny without it disrupting the AEW trajectory.
Yeah, Wheeler. Yeah, I think you're right. Wheeler's going to pull double duty, and maybe he wrestles a little bit less on Dynamite because, you know, he's wrestling more on Ring of Honor. Depending on how they do that, maybe they do tapings the way Impact does, and they film like a month's worth of episodes in like a couple of days or whatever. But
it's like double duty in the sense of like if like, you know, Pete Alonso started in a minor league game in the afternoon and then started in the majors.
Yeah, like DH for the
night,
Cyclones,
you know?
and then hopped over to Queens.
Yeah, like it's double duty that doesn't make people look better anymore.
I
The
feel
Cyclones
that,
is a little mean, by the way, but it was just close enough to distance wise.
I feel that Ring of Honor, unfortunately, just feels lesser right now simply because they don't have a TV deal. We don't know how big of a...
It's because they're bought by a bigger wrestling company, actually.
But they're not,
more
though.
so than
That's the
TV
problem.
thing.
Like, they're not a subsidiary of AEW.
But they're
Tony
bought by
Khan.
Tony Khan. Yeah, the guy who owns the bigger wrestling company. It's the same thing.
But we don't know that Ring of Honor is going to be treated as lesser. We haven't seen it yet. It took a long time for AEW to get to Dynamite. Like they had, I think, Fyter Fest and All Out months before they got to Dynamite. So I
they were a T-shirt company, remember?
They
so
still are. They're just media self-mutilation. What does it say?
you had trouble with
there.
it, but I got it.
Yeah.
I don't. All I'm saying is I don't know how Ring of Honor is going to be presented yet. They could go anywhere from Impact to AEW, and I think they're going to be somewhere in the middle. And I'm hoping that they are closer to AEW than they are to Impact.
I think they're lesser than Impact. That's a compliment to Impact more than anything. But
I know, but still.
But to James's point, I think that remains to be seen, and we're not going to know until they get the TV show off the ground, and who knows when that will be or in what format. You know, only Tony Khan knows, and even then, I'm not sure he does either. But let's keep it rolling. Next, we had the women's match I mentioned earlier: Jade Cargill and Kiera Hogan against Athena and Willow Nightingale. And holy shit, Jermaine Dupri came out with Jade Cargill. That was awesome, even though he didn't really say anything. It was just cool to see him. Also, Statlander was banned from ringside by the Cochran Law Firm of Atlanta. That was a note.
I love that.
Yep. Other than that, I didn't really have a lot of notes in this match. Not because it was a women's match. I wasn't paying. It was just a good tag match. Like I don't think anything amazing happens. I think Athena had some really good spots with Jade, like just a lot of athletic things. They did kip ups to get, simultaneously and one after the other. I thought some of that stuff was really cool, but like nothing overly stood out to me. Anyway, Jade ended up pinning Nightingale after hitting Jaded to pick up the win and remain undefeated. So just overall, really good tag match.
So I'm just gonna, go first if you guys don't mind. But I hated most of this.
Frank.
Why? I get it. It's good heat, whatever, to keep Statlander out of the match. But like, why her specifically? Because aren't you building to Jade Athena? Wouldn't it make more sense? And when did Willow Nightingale get involved in this story? What the
a few weeks ago. No, a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's pretty legit. Yeah.
But
did somebody get hurt or something? I forget what it was.
She hasn't been in any of the backstage interviews on Dynamite, at least. Also, weren't we supposed to have the fucking tag match of Statlander and Athena versus Jade and generic baddie like 5 weeks ago?
Why
is this being delayed
be nice
so
to
much?
Kiera Hogan. Kiera Hogan's
I don't
good.
know, man. I heard her talk last week or whatever, and I was like, oh. I don't
So
know.
you know what happened? I'm remembering this now. There was
Red Velvet got hurt. Yes.
Right, Red Velvet got
Oh,
hurt.
she's hurt.
The
Okay,
third person involved
Yeah,
was
Anna Jay.
Anna. And
Yeah.
now, and so Red got hurt. Anna kind of went by the wayside. And then they brought in temporary Badly Layla Gray. I don't know
But
what happened to her tonight.
I
I don't know if she got
swear
hurt
to
or she got
God,
stuck somewhere or whatever. But
announced-
then that's why they took Stat out.
which makes no sense because Willow didn't have to be there. Like, it's again, that's one of those things where, again, not that this match had any like crazy drama or suspense, but how you look at it, you're like, I wonder who's gonna win this match. Yeah, probably Jade, because she has a person she's not really even feuding with. Like, she has the C person in the match, where at least Kiera Hogan is the B person in her group. But it also, this again, like, we didn't need that whole Ricky Starks thing in this show. This could have had more time. We didn't need the FTR promo. That didn't have to be in ring. That could have been backstage. That would have cut off like 3-4 minutes of it. Like that for them to not say much. We didn't need a lot of this show. We did not need. Have we talked about the Swerve in Our Glory stuff yet?
Nobody had a comment on it because it was so.
We
That
didn't
name
need
is
that.
terrible.
We didn't need that. The best part of it was Mark Sterling, obviously, but like, this could have all gotten more time. And I think right after this is when we had the backstage segment with Thunderstorm, right?
Yep.
Because the woman stuff is always fucking clumped together,
More or less,
literally
yeah.
every week, every fucking week.
Yep.
Right around 9:20.
Like, this tag match could be big if they did it like 5 weeks ago when they first talked about it, because I swear they announced that it would be Statlander and Athena versus Kiera Hogan and Jade Cargill.
I'm afraid to
weeks
ask
ago.
this. I'm afraid to ask this, but did it happen on Rampage?
I don't think it did. I don't think it did, because I actually looked, because I'm like, what's going on with this feud? Because I swear they announced the match and it just hasn't happened. And because you know what? That match could actually be really good if you give it some time. And then you have the faces win and Jade takes a loss, but not really a loss because it's in a tag match and Kiera Hogan gets pinned. And then you have that. That's a big moment. This could be so big if they just made it big. But the only good thing I'll say about Statlander being taken out is that I think it gives more validity to what I said like 5 weeks ago, that Athena is going to lose to Jade and that Statlander can be the one to beat her. So I think that's a good sign in that direction. But there's just, like I said about the Jericho Eddie stuff, like, this has been going on for so long, but it's even worse because nothing's happened ever.
I stand by. I think Forbidden Doors placement on the calendar really hurt a lot of AEW TV.
It did fuck so much.
Like,
things.
so many things got pushed to the side. And don't get me wrong, I love Forbidden Door.
Hey, give Forbidden Door some slack. They were pushing the women's division to the side long before it ever came around. Okay.
No, that is very fair. But I think a lot of storylines would have been finished by now if they hadn't taken that pause to do Forbidden Door.
Name 5.
This one.
There you go. This one, that one, this
that
one again.
other one.
And
I don't know about that one.
All I'm saying is I'm getting more Stokely Hathaway on TV, and I'm okay with that.
I surprisingly am not.
Y'all are killing me tonight.
Well,
Y'all are really killing me.
I love Stokes.
He hasn't made anything better. I still stand by that. He has
He's
not made Jay better in any way.
He's kind
I'll
of
agree. He hasn't made anything
annoying.
better. I'll agree. He hasn't made anything better.
Yeah, he's kind of annoying at this point. Like a lightning bug. Like, he's not harmful, but just annoying.
Because he's in the house.
Whoa. Don't compare him to a lightning bug.
In the house.
What do lightning
I'm sorry.
bugs do?
A lightning bug in the house.
I have a nightlight that flies around the room and doesn't bother anyone. Okay, one time 2 years ago, I was walking, maybe 3, whenever Detective Pikachu came out, I was walking in the movie theater. I caught a lightning bug and I carried it from like Pelham Parkway to Co-op City because it was just chill, because lightning bugs are chill. They're like
How did that thing not die? How did that thing not die?
How would it die? How would it die?
It would suffocate in your hand.
A fly.
I'm not like holding it like that. It's on my hand, my open hand, and it was just chilling because lightning bugs are the chillest bugs. They're the only good bugs. Okay, yeah, fine. Yeah, absolutely. Way better because flies are annoying. People say shoe fly don't bother me. It's not shoe lightning bug. You're a majestic creature, but I don't want you here for some reason.
I hate it.
We are going so far.
This is important.
You know what it is? We've gotten really long, so it's late already, and we're all getting a little delirious. We're almost done here, though. I would just want to
Pretty
say
hot.
that too, the heat. Oh my god, we're all just dehydrated and out of our fucking mind. The only thing I'm going to say about the reason Statlander probably wasn't in the match over Nightingale is somebody had to take that pin, and they didn't want it to be Stat or Athena.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you pin Kiera Hogan.
Well, they don't want
Which
Jade to
faces
lose.
They don't
either.
want Jade to lose.
Jade ain't
It's a
losing
tag
anything.
match.
They don't care.
They're still counting it for her record.
Yep.
They don't care. She's
That's a waste of a great storytelling device then.
well, if they
That
do
is
use
true
it,
as well.
I don't think this was the match to use it.
That's
Also-
when they bring back Mark Sterling in to pull some legal magic and be like, it was a tag match, doesn't affect the record.
Also,
Wow, look at that. Even you admitted in this hypothetical that Sterling's the better manager. For
Not better. He's a better lawyer because he is a lawyer and Stokely isn't a lawyer. I think she should have both. Every successful person has an entourage.
business manager, lawyer, a turtle. In the earlier promo with Statlander, Athena, and Will Nightingale, Athena was kind of saying, like, Stat, maybe you should go for the AEW women's title and I'll go for the TNT title. Like, maybe, I don't know
TBS.
if they're pushing that's going to be the play or they're going to start, like, throwing a little split there just because, whether Athena wins the title or, like you suggested, Danny, like she doesn't and Statlander does, and, like, that adds a little rift between them. I don't know what their play is there, but it certainly seems like Athena is trying to keep Statlander away from the TBS title. So
Yeah, I would like to. I didn't realize we had people in our chat, so I'd just like to give a quick shout out to John Blattner, who agrees with me that lightning bugs are based.
They are great. Also,
is
Lightning Bug,
that-
not Firefly.
It goes either way.
I say Firefly.
You gotta have variety. They have two great names. Use both of them. They're both like A+ names. Or maybe just solid A's at the worst. But and yeah, I agree with Eric. Like you said about to go back to the double duty thing real quick. You can only pull double duty when you're like big top star, which happens all the time on Raw. Which I like Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins wrestled twice a lot because it's 3 hours and it was a long ass show. And if Cody wasn't fucking injured like a punk, he would be wrestling probably 3 times a night because he.
But it's not
definitely wants
in the
to.
same night. Like they're not going to be doing the same night. James just meant double duty, as in like they're going to be on both shows. It'd be more like
Yeah, I know,
on
but
Raw
still-
and SmackDown. Then
Yeah, which they do too. I mean, Roman doesn't because he doesn't even pull single duty. But
Roman doesn't show up.
yeah. But
Oh,
Yeah,
what
so-
a world. What a world we live in.
yeah, shout out to our chat. They're on fire right now.
Yeah, glad you
Um,
guys came in, even though it was
Yeah,
towards
pretty
the end
much.
there.
Yeah, that's fine. It's better
Yep.
than not being here at all.
Exactly.
What else happened on the show?
Well, not too much else. Like you said, Danny, there was the Thunderstorm backstage interview where
Oh my God, it was
Britt and
bad.
Jamie were back, and they have a match on Rampage. Also, Thunder has her upcoming match with Mio Yomahashita. I think that's how you say it. I put the phonetics, not the.
Can I ask a question? How
Yeah.
how crazy is it that Thunder Rosa sounded so much more confident cutting a promo in Japanese than she ever has in the past? Speaking even Spanish.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's Spanish, Japanese, English, but yeah, she.
I don't know.
I didn't
I-
realize
Japanese,
initially she
Spanish.
was speaking Spanish. Excuse me, I didn't realize she was speaking Japanese, and I went, "Holy fuck, she's speaking Japanese!" And then she immediately switched to Spanish, which was very impressive.
I barely have a mastery of the English language. So it's impressive that she is multilingual. But man, she sounded so fierce. I understand. She sounded so fierce cutting that promo. I didn't understand a word of it, but man, she sounded confident. Where is that normally?
I
I
think
don't
it's a
know, but tonight
Japanese
was
thing because
terrible.
that's what I always say about Asuka when she talks in Japanese. It's like I have no idea what you're saying, but I can fucking feel it, and that's all
Yeah.
that matters. But real quick, just to entertain the idea that Eric keeps bringing in the chat, do you think Jade should just win the main title before she ever loses?
No, I don't think so.
I'm
Which
at the
is-
point where
I think if she did it right now, if she beat Thunder, I'd be okay.
I
with
was
it.
gonna say I'm at the point right now that if they wanted to double strap her, then I'm fine with it because Thunder Rosa's promo
Yeah,
ability.
FTR could hold
fucked me
6
tonight.
belts, but you know.
But I think there's a difference from holding like.
Yeah, I
You're-
know they're not real belts, so you don't have to make the point. Okay, I know what you were gonna say, and I said it in a less nice way than you were gonna say it, but
You did.
you know.
You really did.
I don't know if I would do it either, but I wouldn't hate it. Right now, I wouldn't hate it.
I think Jade Cargill is the person that you could do it with, but I think.
But she needs Mark Sterling as manager. Yeah, again, I'm with you, man.
Can we move on?
Great points.
All right,
Agreed.
let's move on. Let's move on. It's almost midnight.
There's not much else to move on to. That was the only other note I had was Excalibur was reading the House of the Dragon promo, and then JR just kept talking while they were supposed to cut, and they didn't cut, and that was funny as hell. And then they finally went to the trailer. But yeah, that was Shark Week. I mean,
All right.
Dynamite.
If you had to give it a grade out of 100, like a test, what would you give this episode?
Purple.
Chad, you go first.
68.
Okay, passing
The
grade.
9
Okay.
was right there. The 9 was right there. Anyway.
Bro, we are 30, man. Like,
Oh, I'm feeling it too. Yesterday kicked my ass emotionally, mentally, and physically.
all right, what would you give the show?
Well,
On a
now
number grade,
Now,
100.
now I feel bad if I say 69. So
Hey, freak boy.
I
Freak ass.
I legitimately liked it more than that. I'd give it like a 78.
What? That's too fucking close to 80. You serious?
Give
Why
it
wouldn't
a
you say
C+.
70 then? That was too close to 70. Like, why would you say 68?
I know, but the point is that 80 is high. That it shouldn't be that high, I don't think.
I enjoyed it more than I didn't, but the stuff that I didn't enjoy really did throw me off, which is why it's not a
Okay.
higher grade.
So, like, I feel like Chad gave it a grade that implies that they didn't put the work in and they just gave it by. Whereas, like, it seems like you think they put in a little bit more work and they were just a little bit off on some of the, tougher short response answers. They probably guessed their way through the multiple choice and got a pretty good ratio there, but on the short response, they were slacking.
For everyone who's wondering why Danny is dragging this episode out, he's not going to be able to do the news segment, so he wants this to go long, and I know it. I know it.
No, that's.
Am I completely off?
Not completely off.
That's
That's not why. That's not why I'm dragging it out. Just because we finally have people watching in the chat.
I guess that's-
I give it a
I guess
3.5
that's
out of 5 sharks.
Cool. What is that in terms of
70. It's a 70 out of 100.
What is that in
70?
truth bucks?
Okay.
I don't know that conversion off the top of my head.
I love
Yeah.
that he went right back to the Sharks.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Actually, yeah, that makes perfect sense. All right, so yeah,
It was a shark themed show. It was great. That was the
70%.
most entertaining part of the show, was that there were sharks involved.
Agreed. Which is
don't-
And The
saying
Rock.
something.
if this was the pandemic, if this was the pandemic era of wrestling, because the pandemic, is still kind of going on, but if this was the pandemic era of wrestling, someone would have actually gotten eaten by a shark.
Well, if you didn't see it, I don't know if it was before the show or maybe it was like they were filming like Dark Elevation or something. Nyla Rose was running around in a left shark costume. So
I say this without any shame. I miss Nyla on TV.
I wish I don't know if they necessarily need to make her face, but I want Twitter Nyla on television.
Yes. Yes.
Because she just
Yeah.
ruins people's lives and it's amazing.
I don't know. Sure. I don't know. Nyla's been. It feels weird because AEW is such a short-lived company, but Nyla's been there too long.
Oh my god.
It's not possible.
You know what?
It is. She's
We're
on
just-
TV.
We're
She's
just
on TV too
rambling
much.
at this
Danny, you didn't
point,
give a
so-
grade before we leave.
Yeah, give us a grade,
Uh,
Danny. and
I
I'll
was
shut
gonna
this
try
down.
to get out of it. I guess like a 93, right? It was a near flawless episode. Like, what was wrong with this episode?
Yeah, there were sharks.
know?
93.
Yeah, Chad.
Oh.
I hated most of it, but
I hated most of it, but it was technically all there, so it's got to get a good
All
grade.
right, all
no,
right.
I'll give it a.
Don't make me mute all
67.
of you. I will. I have the
Oh
power.
god! All right, bye, John.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. It has been a long and crazy episode, but if you would like more, please like and subscribe. As we always say, when we get to 100 subscribers, and we're closer than we were as a fly goes past me, just because, of course, it does after our previous conversation.
Not a lightning bug, right? Wasn't a lightning bug.
It was just like I said, when we get to 100 subscribers, James will rap, and I think that is beard green is what we've officially decided.
I don't know anymore.
So some part of his hair on his head.
We'll settle for eyebrows. We'll settle for eyebrows.
I got like Eugene Levy eyebrows. I don't know if I could get away with. Like...
Yeah, you'd have to probably shave them off, which is just a double punishment. If you want to check us out on our social media stuff, it's in the description below. Because, like I said last week, I actually figured out how to do that during the episode, which makes my life a lot more convenient. So, and go check out our other stuff. It's all good too. Go check out our interview with NXEN. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time with him, and you learn a lot about being an indie wrestler. Life on the road, stuff like that. So for Daniel Hernandez,
can I just say, guys,
who
please,
has to say one more thing?
Please, guys, spam the comments. All right, spam the social media, spam those likes, spam those subscriptions. Just scam everything. Okay, life is a scam. You were saying, Rob?
We gotta go.
All right, just cut it. So for Scamming Hernandez, Chad Big Bad Johnson, and James Casabi, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching the Sharkathon podcast. Have a good night, everybody.
What?